So now let's solve some problems regarding directed distance between a point and a line. Hindi na lang siya just finding directed distance, but let's solve some problems related to that. So first, in number 1, we're asked to find the directed distance between the lines, the parallel lines 14x plus 8y plus 64 equals 0 and 14x plus 8y minus 56 equals 0. So, since what we know is the distance between a point and a line, pwede tayong kumuha ng isang point dun sa isang line, then use that to find the distance between that point and a line. So, if for example, I'm not going to graph them anymore, but say for example, if I have two parallel lines, the distance between this point here to the line would be the same all throughout kasi isa lang naman line yan. So it will just be the same all throughout. So all we need to do is get one point from the previous line or from one of the lines, then find its distance to the other line. So, that is not here. Say I want to get the line from either of the two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it from this line instead. I'm going to get a point from here, then find its distance to this point. Pero pwede rin baliktad. You find a point here, then find its distance to this line. So, if we want to find a point in this second equation, the fastest thing to do is rewrite it in slope-intercept form. Kasi automatic, yung y-intercept ay a point dun sa line. Yun ang gagawin natin. So, therefore, in rewriting this, let's transpose everything to the right side except for the y term. We're going to have 8y is equal to negative 14x plus 56. Dividing both sides by 8, we're going to have y is equal to negative 14x plus 56 over 8. And then separating them, I'm going to have y is equal, I'm going to simplify negative 14 over 8 already, and that will become negative 7 fourths x plus 7. Since this is the b from the slope-intercept form, therefore the y-intercept of this line is at the point 0, 7. So dahil ito yung point natin, we can now get the distance from the line 14x plus 8y plus 64 equals 0 to the point 0, 7. Kasi yung distance na yun, eh magiging parehas lang naman all throughout. So it will be the distance between the parallel lines. Now, since the line is an oblique line, hindi siya vertical, it's not horizontal, we can then use the formula d is equal to ax of 1 plus by sub 1 plus c all over positive or negative square root of a squared plus b squared. Now, since 8 is positive, the sign of the denominator becomes positive. Therefore, I'm going to have 14 times 0 plus 8 times 7 plus 64 all over positive square root of 14 squared plus 8 squared. So, therefore, I'm going to have 14 times 0, that's 14, 8 times 7, that's 56, plus 64 all over the square root of 196 plus 64. Therefore, I'm going to have 56 plus 64. That would be equal to 120 all over the square root of 196 plus 64 is 260. So now, we need to get the square root nitong 260, ano? So, square root of 260, it's a side solution. So, square root 260, that would be 26 times 10. So, magiging that's 13 times 2. This becomes 2 times 5. So, ito lang. So, that becomes 2 square root of what is 13 times 5. So, square root of 260. So, natin siya dito. Square root of 260. Oops. So, the square root of 260 will become the square root of, that's 2 squared times 5 times 13. So, this becomes 2 square root of times 13, and that is equal to 65. This is 2 square root of 65. Ayan. Kasolve na natin yung square root of 60 by hand. So, tuloy natin siya dito. So, this becomes equal to 120 over 2 square root of 65. So, therefore, simplifying that, we're going to have 60 over square root of 65. So, rationalizing this, so rationalizing this, I'm going to have this equal to 65, sorry. That would be 60 squared, 60 squared root of 65 over 65, which when simplified becomes 12 square root of 65 over 13. So therefore, the distance between these two lines would be 12 square root of 65 over 13 units. Ayan. Now let's work with number 2. Find the equations in standard form of the angle bisectors of the acute and obtuse angles formed by the lines x minus 2y plus 1 equals 0 and x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. So, yung kanina, medyo kaya intindihin natin ng walang drawing because we just need to find the point and then find the line. This one here, maybe it's better if we want to draw the lines because hindi obvious kagad na maghanap ka ng distance. So, let's first draw the figure. So, this is our Cartesian plane. There you go. So, let's first graph the line x minus 2y plus 1 equals 0. If we want to graph that, we can use slope-intercept form. So, transpose, that's negative 2y is equal to negative x plus 1. Dividing both sides by negative 2, the y is equal to, that's negative x plus 1 over negative 2. Splitting that, I'm going to have ito makakancel. So that we're going to have 1 half x minus 1 half. I leave that to you paano nakuha yan because that's already an algebraic process. So if this is negative 1 half, ito, that's the point negative 1 half, then we go up 1, kasi ito yung slope niyan. We go up 1, then we go right 2. So, ito, rough estimate. So, therefore, this is the equation, this is the line. Ayan. I-ano lang natin sa baba, no, para matuloy sa baba. So, 1 to ito lang, para lang matuloy natin yung line. Ayan. Ayan, there you go. So this is the line x minus 2y plus 1 equals 0. Yung isa naman. So let's sketch the graph of x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. So transposing this one here, I'm going to have 3y is equal to negative x plus 3. Divide both sides by 3. I'm going to have y is equal to negative x plus 3 over 3. So therefore, splitting that, I'm going to have y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 1. Iwan ko na sa inyo kung saan nakuha yan. So therefore, I'm going to have here 1. That's the y-intercept 1. Then negative 1/3. So I can go down 1, then go right 3. Go down 1, oops. Go down 1, then 1, 2, 3. Ito. So therefore, I can draw this line here. Ayan. So para lang tumama dun sa kanan. Sa kaliwa here on the other side. So negative, that's negative 1, 2, so 1, then 1, 2, 3. So I'm just drawing that para makita talaga natin yung itsura. There you go. This is the line now, x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. Okay? Now, we are asked to find the equation of the standard form of the angle bisector of the acute and then obtuse. So, kung makikita natin, this is the angle. I'm going to mark it in red. Ito yung dalawang acute angles. Yung red. The one in red. Gawin natin kulay blue. Ito yung acute angle in blue, while yung obtuse ay itong green. So now, we need to find the equation of the angle bisector. So that would mean, I'm going to draw a line here. Ito. Yan. This angle here bisects these two angles, which means this angle, ito, at itong angle na to, yan pala, have the same measure. Nakihan natin. Ayan. So, as you can see here, these two angles would have the same measure kasi this is an angle bisector. So, ito din, mag-equal dito din. Similarly, balik lang natin sa akin. Ayan. If I'm going to draw a line which is considered to be the angle bisector, there you go. If we're going to draw this line, zoom natin, as the angle bisector, then therefore this would be equal to this part. Ngayon, anong connection yan sa distance between a point and a line? The connection here is that if this point here, this and this is part of an angle bisector, ibig sabihin, itong distance na to, let's name this as d sub 1, ay parehas lang sa distance na tong d sub 2. Dahil angle bisector, dapat parehas lang ng distance yan kasi congruent yung dalawang angle. So therefore, d sub 1 should be equal to d sub 2. Zoom out tayo. So therefore, ayan, align natin. Therefore, that d sub 1 should be equal to d sub 2. Although natin alam kung ano yung point. Yeah. That's the thing. We know the lines, but we're going to let the point x sub 1 and x sub 2 arbitrary. Kasi equation din naman yung hahanapin. So the thing is, how do we now do that? So first, we know the formula. The formula for the distance between a point and an oblique line would be ax sub 1 plus by sub 1 plus c all over positive or negative square root of a squared plus b squared. Ngayon, we have to consider the fact that this is a directed distance. Sinabi natin in the previous video that if the point is above the line, then this is a positive distance. But if the point is below the line, this is a negative distance. Kahit na ganito yung itsura nung line natin, the one above is still a positive distance. This is a positive distance, while the one below is a negative distance. So, if you're going to take a closer look at d sub 1 and d sub 2, so balikan natin yung d sub 1 and d sub 2. Ayan. Going to take a closer look at d sub 1 and d sub 2, this d sub 1 is below ng line na to. So, below, and the distance d sub 1 is below. So, if we're going to use that as a basis, therefore d sub 1 is negative. Kasi nga, below. On the other hand, etong d sub 2 ay nasa above. This line here, d sub 2 is above. Above. Therefore, d sub 2 is positive. So, balik na tayo din sa original natin solution. So, with that, erase natin to. So therefore, d sub 1 should actually be negative, while d sub 2 is positive. D sub 1 is concerned with the first equation, while d sub 2 is concerned with the second equation. Now, hindi natin alam yung point, so that we'll just make the point p x comma y. Hindi alam pa ano yun eh. Therefore, d sub 1 concerning this line and this point would be equal to negative of 1. Correct. It's 1 times x minus 2 times y plus 1 all over. Since this is negative here, that's negative square root of 1 squared plus 2 squared. And this is equal to, ito naman ngayon, so d sub 2 dito naman. So in d sub 2, that's equal to 1 times x plus 3 times y minus 3 all over. Since this is positive, so positive din yung nasa baba, square root of 1 squared plus 2 squared. This should have been, this should have been negative, should have been negative 2 squared. Ayan. So, let's simplify things. This gets cancelled, so we're going to have 1 times x, that's x, minus 2y plus 1 all over the square root of 1 plus 4. That's negative 2 squared is equal to x plus 3y minus 3 all over the square root of, that's 1 plus 9. Ibaba natin. Therefore, we're going to have x minus 2y plus 1 over the square root of 5 is equal to x plus 3y minus 3 all over the square root of 10. This is now where it gets algebraic, because now we have to cross multiply, and therefore it becomes square root of 10 times x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to square root of 5 times x plus 3y minus 3. So distributing this, we're going to have x square root of 10 minus 2 square root of, sinusot ko lang siya in conventional order, 2y square root of 10 plus square root of 10 is equal to x square root of 5 plus 3y square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 5. So, ngayon, dito pwedeng mag-iba-iba because you can transpose this one to this side or transpose this to the other side. Since we're dealing with radicals, it's kind of difficult to know whether it will be a positive or negative value na kung walang calculator. So, what I'm going to do is simply transpose everything on the right side to the left. Pero magpaparehas lang yon if you transpose this to the right. Although medyo iba in terms of signs, but technically they would be the same. So, if I'm going to transpose everything here on this side, I'm going to have x squared of 10 minus 2y squared of 10 plus square root of 10 minus x square root of 5 minus 3y square root of 5 plus 3 square root of 5 equals 0. Ayan. So, combining like terms, I'm going to have ito at ito like terms. I'm going to have x multiplied to, since it's coefficient, unahin ko muna ang square root of 10 minus square root of 5x. Kung mapapansin nyo ang ginawa ko, let's just show the long process para hindi nakakalito. This becomes x square root of 10 minus x square root of 5. Kasi, yun na yun. Hindi naman sila mapapagsama talaga as like terms. Yun na yun. Then, this one, the y's, that's negative 2y square root of 10 minus 3y square root of 5. Tapos, the constants here, that's plus square root of 10 plus 3 square root of 5 equals 0. Then, angat natin pa. So, ito na to, so to simplify, let's factor out x, tapos pagpalitin natin para the coefficient is the one that is in front. So, I'm going to have square root of 10 minus square root of 5x. Going to do the same here. going to factor out y. Pwede naman positive, pero kung mapapansin nyo, pareho negative to. So, negative y, i-factor out ko. So, we're going to have minus 2 square root of 10 plus 3 square root of 5y. Pag pinactor out mo yung negative, nilagay mo dito, magiging positive yung dalawa. That's why it's like this. Plus square root of 10 plus 3 square root of 5 equals 0. Yan na yung equation. Since it's standard form, let's double check kung standard form yung pinakahanap. Yes, standard form. So, dahil standard form, ililipat natin ito sa kabila. So, therefore, the equation of the acute angle bisector would be square root of 10 minus square root of 5x minus 2 square root of 10 plus 3 square root of 5y is equal to negative square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 5. Ngayon, kung iba yung way ng pagka-transpose nyo, mag-iiba lang yung sign ng iba. This becomes positive, positive, then positive, positive, negative square root of 10, positive square root of 5. And that would be considered already. Medyo mahaba lang yung proseso, but that's analytic geometry for you. Now, let's now go to the second one, dun sa obtuse. Ngayon, in the obtuse one, it's both on top. Itong pwesto na to is both on the top part of the two lines or dito, bottom part of the two lines. So, dahil ito na lang, yung mas madali nila. It's both on top. That's why for the second part, for the obtuse dito, I can say that this distance d sub 3, ito, this distance d sub 3 is positive kasi nasa taas ng line na to. Similar to this one here, this distance d sub 4 is also on top or asa taas nitong line na to. So therefore, it will just be positive. D sub 3 is equal to D sub 4. Yeah. Use it let's just stick with this one for now. And dito na lang pala siguro sa kabilang side para magkahiwalay yung solution at medyo mahaba. Here. So I'll start here. D sub 3 is equal to D sub 4. D sub 3 is related to this. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Na this point here is xy na hindi na natin alam. So therefore, following our formula, d sub 3 will then be equal to 1 times x plus 3 times y. Oops, sorry. Not inconsistent. 1 times x plus 3 plus 3 times y minus t all over. Since this is positive, yung nasa baba ay positive, square root of 1 squared plus t squared is equal to, ang d sub 4 ay related naman dito. So therefore, I'm going to have, that's 1 times x plus negative 2 times y plus 1 all over. Since negative ito, negative square root of 1 squared plus negative 2 squared. So simplifying the numerators, we're going to have x plus 3y minus 3 all over the denominator. That's ang numerator lang pala yun kanina. So that's square root of 1 plus 9, which will be equal to x minus 2y plus 1 all over negative square root of 1 plus 4. Therefore, we're going to have x plus 3y minus 3 all over square root of 10 is equal to x minus 2y plus 1 all over negative square root of 5. Tandaan yung negative ay hindi na-cancel. So, let's cross multiply that. Then we're going to have negative square root of 5 times x plus 3y minus 3 is equal to square root of 10 times x minus 2y plus 1. Oops. 1. There you go. So now, let's distribute. First, so we're going to have negative x square root of 5 minus 3y square root of 5 plus 3 square root of 5. Negative kasi ito, so nagpalit ng sign dito. Is equal to x square root of 10 minus 2y 2y square root of 10 plus square root of 10. Para natin magaya yung ginawa natin kanina, ilagay na natin yung constant dito sa right side at itong may coefficient sa left side. So, I'm going to have negative x square root of 5 minus 3y square root of 5 minus x square root of 10 plus 2y square root of 10 is equal to square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 5. So, from here, baba na natin ito. From here, we can factor out, we can combine like terms. We're going to have negative x squared root of 5 minus x squared root of 10 minus 3y squared root of 5 plus 2y squared root of 10 is equal to square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 5. So, kagaya ng natin kanina, factor out x at ilagay sa harap yung coefficient. No? So, this becomes negative square root of 5 minus square root of 10x. Ito, ang gagawin ko lang ay pa-factor out ng positive kasi isa lang naman yung negative. So, I'm just going to have plus negative 3 square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 10y is equal to square root of 10 minus 3 square root of 5. Although this is not negative, pwede namang you just transpose and then you'll get the same value. So, ganun din naman yun. Therefore, this is now the equation of the obtuse angle bisector. Nito equation na to. It's a bit complicated, yes, but that is the solution in this specific problem. In finding the equation in standard form of the angle bisectors of two intersecting lines.